What's up guys, this is Miasin, and first of all, I'm really sorry for being so late on today's video, but at least the wait is kind of justified because I am going to be showing you guys my Orcust Mitsurugi combo video and deck profile. This deck is really good. So first of all, it plays both obviously Orcust and Mitsurugi cards, which are both dark attribute, which means there's no conflicting with Dominus Impulse, and that card is basically one of the best hand traps that you can play right now. But also the two archetypes, they kind of synergize with each other in a way because with the Orcust engine, you can make King of the Feral Imps to then bridge into the Mitsurugi cards. So yeah, it's just a really cool deck. It's really fun. There's a lot of like really explosive things that you can do. It's better than you think. If you're not really a big fan of the Orcust cards, this will definitely change your mind because the new support is so incredibly good. Both the Link 1 and the Link 4 are insane. The Link 1 is particularly good though because, and it's another way of, I mean, it's basically another Galatea. I mean, it also has Galatea in its name, so it's just another way of accessing the field spell, and the field spell is insane in Orcust, of course, turning all your cards into quick effects. But yeah, anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. Really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. Thank you guys so much. And also huge shoutouts to my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet, which you can find on my website, yacineygo.com. And also shoutouts to my sponsors, Supreme Pro, so please check out tsx1.com and use the coupon code YACIN10 for 10% off. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so combo number 1, all we have is Gearsu, the Orcust Mech Knight, nothing else. Look at that. So normal summon, send the Harpour, get a token on each field, and then banish the Harpour to summon the Orcust Nightmare. Banish it in order to boost the attack of whatever monster on the field. It can be anything, doesn't matter. But also this unique effect allows you to get rid of monsters that are unaffected by card effects. So every now and then, just remember that if your opponent has a monster with like way too much attack that cannot be, affected by stuff, Orcust Nightmare being able to boost the stats of your monsters, it can really help. The maximum amount that you can boost should be 800, unless you play like the obscure, like dark monsters, but whatever. If you're sending World Wand, it's gonna boost by 800. But yeah, send the World Wand and then revive back the Harpour, because we now have 2 level 4 monsters for King of the Feral Imps that can detach the Harpour to search the Habakiri, and then Habakiri effect summon the Saji. Get rid of the token because it is a non-effect monster, so we can't use it for Galatea. And then Saji is going to be searching for the Mitsurugi ritual. Activate that right away, summon from the hand by getting rid of the Kusanagi and the Aramasa. At this point, we've already used the effect of Orcust monsters, so we are locked under only being able to special summon dark monsters. Not just special summon from the extra deck, special summon overall. So that's the reason why people back in the days were using, Nibiru in combination with like Orcust Nightmare's graveyard effect, there we go, in order to make it so that Nib would resolve as much as possible by tributing the whole field, but then it wouldn't summon itself, so they could keep looping the same Nib over and over in Orcust. And because of that, remember that you cannot play Night Sword Serpent in Orcust Mitsurugi, which might actually play in your favor because it's just another brick. But yeah, anyways, trigger the Kusanagi as well as the Aramasa. The Aramasa, honestly, it's kind of like fake card advantage. All it really does is search another monster that sucks. And that's a big problem that I have, and that a lot of people have with the Mitsurugi cards. It's the fact that you're searching fake cards. So just another Habakiri that can only trigger its effect once per duel. However, in the Orcust strategy, you can just use it as a free discard fodder for Galatea I, the Orcust Automaton. So it's not the end of the world. But anyways, go into the, well, obviously search your Babel, and then link off into the big Galatea, shuffle back the World Wand. This is very important, by the way. Every single step that I do, you have to do the exact same way. And then that will be setting the Orcust Crescendo from your deck to your field, and then activate the ritual, summon the Murakumo from the deck, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, so get rid of the token that you gave to your opponent, and revive back the Habakiri by searching the Mitsurugi prayers, and then activate prayers, tribute the Murakumo, search another Habakiri, so again, fake card advantage, but that can just be used as discard fodder for the graveyard, for the on-field effect of the Galatea I that you can use on your opponent's turn by getting rid of the Habakiri because it can revive itself back, since obviously we have Babel, so everything is treated as a quick effect. The Murakumo is going to be searching the Mitsurugi prayers and revive itself back, and then we can actually overlay both of these Mitsurugi monsters for the Gearsu because, yeah, nothing forces you to necessarily just use Orcust monsters. Although I'm not gonna lie, this step, it's kind of a flex because there's like infinite ways of trying to do what we want to do anyways. Like we can also use the Gearsu on top of like Galatea and then use the Mitsurugi monsters as link body, so it doesn't really matter too much. And yeah, attach back the skeleton if I recall correctly, or was it? No, it was the Orcust Nightmare, and then link off your Galatea I, and the Gearsu for Enlil Gearsu, or Enlil Gearsu, the Orcust Mech Knight. This card's insane. So you can target a banished Orcust or World Legacy card, even like your World Legacy Succession, add it to your hand, then you can shuffle one card from your hand into the deck, and take control of one face of monster your opponent controls. So obviously it becomes a quick effect with Babel. So imagine like a non-targeting, you know, like temporary, like a permanent mind control. Like it's super broken. And then you're gonna main phase of this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there from the extra monsters on this turn. You can banish it, send one card on the field to the graveyard. So it's even good if you use it as material for like IP into SP using this. It's also gonna trigger its effect again. But yeah, anyways, recycle back your Gearsu from your banish to the hand just to give yourself even more follow-up. And then on the opponent's turn, draw face, stand by face, whatever, revive back the Galatea Eye, and then pitch the useless Habakiri, or if you didn't have it, because you have less wiggle room to play with, you can also just discard the Gearsu, and then you're going to be searching for the World Legacy World Crown. On the field, whenever a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, or rather, a monster special summoned from the extra deck activates its effect, you can tribute the World Crown on the field in order to negate the activation of that monster effect and then destroy it. And you can easily summon that World Crown simply by sending the World Wand, which can send a, well, special summon a World Legacy monster from the hand. And also, Orcust Nightmare can boost the attack of your IP Masquerena to make it much harder for your opponent to run over it by battle and make it really difficult for your opponent to just crash and then play in main phase 2. So yeah, you can have a 1600 attack IP, and then you also summon Skeleton with the graveyard effect of Harpour, which we revive back off of the World 1 on turn 1. And when we link off that Skeleton, it's going to go to the graveyard so that it can use this effect in order to revive back the Gearsu. So a lot of disruptions here. That's a lot to digest. There's Crescendo, which is not in negate, and it's always live because of the Gearsu, the Orcust Mech Knight. We have Mitsurugi Prayers into Murakumo, so that's 2 disruptions in the spell and trap zone. Very layered deck, by the way. It's pretty much like Fire King. Like, you have spells and traps, you have graveyard effects, you have things in your hand, potentially, because this deck can easily play hand traps. You have, obviously, monster threats on your field. You have a little bit of everything, and that's something that I think people are really going to appreciate with Orcust, but especially Orcust Mitsurugi. I think it's like the best of both worlds. It's definitely one of the best ways to play Mitsurugi, and I think the best way to play Orcust, because you also don't lose to Artifact Lancia anymore, because the Orcust cards do lose to Lancia, but the Mitsurugi cards couldn't care less. So, you know, both engines, they kind of help each other at nullifying both weaknesses that they all have. Anyways, the Gearsu obviously revives itself back and then send something or attach something in order to protect your monsters. And then, you know, obviously we got the SP that can banish twice, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5... 6 disruptions, 7 disruptions with a World Crown. It's basically impossible for your opponent to beat you at this point. And that was a 1-card combo. Pretty impressive. And to make matters even worse for your opponent, this is Nibiru proof to some degree. Like, it's not that it's like Nibiru proof on its own, but depending on how you play it out, you can respect Nibiru, but you're not going to be able to do all of that. But anyways, let's get into combo number 2, where I will be showcasing how to play when all you've got is a single Harpour and nothing else. Okay, so for combo number 2, like I said, all we've got is Harpour, so normal summon, and then go into the Galatea Eye, banish it in order to summon the Gearsu, the Orcust Mech Knight. So unlike combo number 1, where we started right away with Gearsu in order to send something and also get tokens, we will not be able to get the tokens, obviously, since we already have another monster on the field. So in other words, I think you guessed it, Harpour is a worse combo than Gearsu, but it's not the end of the world. But anyways, Orcust Nightmare, send the World Wand, and then revive back the Harpour, going to King of the Feral Imps to search the Habakiri, and then obviously effects, summon the Saji, tribute to the King of the Feral Imps. We want to kind of keep Saji on the field just so that it opens up the door to potentially allowing us to make Evil Swarm Nightmare, which is a great interruption against a lot of decks. Yeah, obviously the Mitsurugi plays are kind of obvious, so I'm just going to fast forward here. And yeah, just pitch that extra Habakiri that doesn't do anything for the Galatea Eye. Mitsurugi Prayers, tribute the Murakumo, revive back a level 4 monster, and revive back the Murakumo, search the prayers, make the Gearsu there, attach back the Orcust Nightmare, link off into Galatea, the Orcust Automaton, and then put back the World Wand into the deck to set the Crescendo, revive back the Galatea Eye, and then link off for an IP, and we make Lon Gearsu, the Orcust Orchestrator. So the only difference between combo number 1 and 2 is that this time, instead of making the link 4, we have the link 3, but we also have Crescendo, Prayers, etc. and everything else. So yeah, honestly, in terms of like disruptions that you're making, it's literally the same. It's just that Lon Gearsu is a significantly worse card than Enlil Gearsu. Enlil Gearsu is a quick effect, steal a monster the opponent controls. Like, obviously, this is super broken, but if we had Harpour and any extender, then it actually would translate to just being the exact same, so it really doesn't matter too much. Alright, last but definitely not least, this time we have Orcust, Symbol Skeleton, and Habakiri. And I wanted to showcase this combo in order to prove to you that even with a minimalistic Orcust hand, if you have like one Mitsurugi card, like a Mitsurugi starter, you can do wonders. It's really, really cool. So look at this, because there is synergy. It's not just like, oh, you're doing Mitsurugi things and then you're doing like separate Orcust things that don't bridge with each other. No, like these two engines, they do connect in a really smooth way. But yeah, obviously the very start is just Mitsurugi things, whatever. You know, summon Murakumo on top of the Habakiri, revive a cell back, search the prayers, etc. Blah blah blah. Normal summon the skeleton, go into Galatea Eye, pitch the useless Habakiri that just is fake card advantage. Search the World Crown because we don't have. If we search Babel, we're not doing anything. So yeah, search that and then make the IP Masquerena. And then go for prayers and then tribute the Murakumo, revive back the Kusanagi. And then Murakumo comes back, researches the prayers. And then link up the Murakumo as well as the Galatea Eye for Lib the World Keyblade Master. This is only possible since we have a World Legacy card in the graveyard, which is the World Crown. And on the field, we can set... we can use this effect to set World Legacy Succession, great card, and then use the Kusanagi and the Link 1 to make Galatea. And then we don't use Galatea's effect, we make the Gearsu, we attach back the skeleton, we link off into Long Gearsu, and then revive back the Link 1, and then make Galatea again, shuffle back the Galatea to set the field spell, and then link off into the Link 4 using the IP, and then revive back the IP off of World Legacy Succession, so we have one of the most annoying monsters to deal with that cannot be destroyed by card effects. And also, we can boost its attack off of the Orcust Nightmare if we had it, but we don't because all we've got is Skeleton. But we still have a lot at our disposal because in the graveyard, we've got Skeleton to revive back the Gearsu. So, because usually the one-card combo with Skeleton, it doesn't do any of that. You're not even... Like, you have a Gearsu in the grave, but you can't revive it back because the Skeleton has to go back into the deck for your Galatea to, like, set the Babel. And all you really have is, like, Enlil Gearsu. And that's pretty much it, which is kind of mediocre. But yeah, like I said, now we have Enlil Gearsu that can interrupt the opponent because Skeleton can banish itself, so we can like shuffle it back into the hand and then steal a monster. And then we've got IP into SP, and we've got the Gearsu with the prayers to revive back the Murakumo. So it's crazy how you're doing all the Mitsurugi stuff while also doing all the Orcust stuff, but actually much, much, much better. Like, it's not just like you're doing everything that a single skeleton would usually do, and then everything that a single Habakiri would usually do. It actually gets better just because you're merging both archetypes with each other. So like I said, that's the reason why I like this deck so much. But anyways, let's get into the deck profile now. Okay, for the deck profile, this is my list. So I'm playing a lot of starters. I'm really respecting consistency as much as humanly possible. I think this is a great list if you don't really know where to start. This is definitely something that you could look into, like regardless of, I think, of your experience with Orcust or Mitsurugi. Even if you've never played any of these two decks, this should work for most people. So I'm playing a lot of Orcust monsters, 3 Gearsu, obviously 3 Harpour, that's a given, and then 3 Orcust Nightmare and 3 Skeleton. That is like my personal thing. But if you really want to, you can cut Skeleton to 2 and actually cut Orcust Nightmare to 1, and then you'll have a 45 card deck. But I think everything else, for the most part, I would honestly play as it is. Potentially, you could cut Forbidden Droplet, so if you really want to, you can play 42 cards. So no Droplet, 2 Skeleton, 1 Orcust Nightmare. That could be a consideration. Minus 6 cards, because like I said, right now, that's 48, sorry. And I'm playing, what is that? 19 non-engine in 48. So the ratios are fine, and this deck is like naturally good at beating hand shafts for the most part. So it's not really like the end of the world. These obviously are starters, and then Habakiri and Prayers are starters. We've got Foolish Burial, which obviously is a starter since you're banishing the Harpour, and then you play from there. Aramasa is a starter, and then Saji, Kusanagi, Ritual, Murakumo. Obviously, these cards are combo pieces. They don't do anything on their own. And then World Legacy Succession, World Wand, World Crown, and then Babel, Crescendo. And yeah, those cards are also just combo pieces. You need them, but they don't really do much of anything if you draw them and you don't have a good hand. And for the non-engine, obviously Call by the Grave is a given. Dominus Impulse is a given because dark, everything is dark. So it feels really good to be able to play an Impulse deck. It's such a huge advantage. That card is so incredibly broken. Drone Logbird because it's a good turn skip right now. Imperm as well as Ash, Fua, and Droplet. If you really want to, you could look into playing Foolish Burial Goods so that you can send Crescendo and get your Orca stuff going. And if you don't need to send Crescendo, then you can simply send Black Gold Laughs, and it can basically behave as a board breaker. So it's kind of like an Imperm against the Razor deck, because the real reason why I play Imperm is really just to deal with Detonator, because that card is very, very annoying. But yeah, like I said, 48 cards, I think for the most part, this is solid. Droplet, like I said, is very debatable whether you want to play it or not, but I like Droplet in decks where monsters have good graveyard effects, and when you go Droplet to send a Harpour, a Skeleton, or an Orcust Nightmare, it feels pretty nice. So yeah, no complaints there. For the extra deck, Evilstorm Nightmare, of course, King of the Feral Imps, that's obviously just no shit. Dynamundo, you're usually trying to summon this on the opponent's turn using IP and a ritual monster like Murakumo, and then you can use Dynamundo's effect to like put back something on your opponent's shuffle back into the deck, and then you can use Dynamundo's effect to revive back the Murakumo and then regeki your opponent. So yeah, Dynamundo is actually better to make on the opponent's turn than SP if the other material is a ritual monster. Gearsu, of course, the first, I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer again. Like, you can easily summon this card either with the Orcust stuff or even with the Mitsurugi stuff because they're level 8. And then the Gearsu, of course, Long Gearsu, Lib, the World Key Blade Master with World Legacy Succession. If you really want to, you can actually cut Succession and Lib just so that you can free up a little bit more extra deck space. And also, if you're not a big fan of this card, even though it's not bad, you don't have to necessarily play it. 2 Galatea, the Orcust Automaton, and then 1 Dark, the Dark Charmer, SP, IP, and 2 Galatea Link ones. And I'm not really gonna bother going into the idea section, but all I will say is that you can also play some Millennium and Fiendsmith cards in this deck, and honestly, it's not too bad. There's definitely a way to make it work. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Orcust Mitsurugi in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.